Okay, in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to self-install a version of WordPress, the self-hosted WordPress, onto your own hosting account. You can use WordPress.com, but in this case, we're going to use the self-hosted version of WordPress because it just gives you much more flexibility, and it means you actually own the content that you're working on. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is, I'll just full screen this. And we're going to go to wordpress.org, and here we can download the latest version of WordPress. Very important to get the latest version, and when you actually have it installed, it's very important to keep it updated as well, just for security reasons. Okay, so while that is updating, what we need to do is go back into our hosting. As I explained in earlier videos, I'm using Black Knight. So I'll just log into my Black Knight control panel. Okay, so while WordPress has downloaded in the background there, actually what we are going to do is actually set up a database. So you can see here we have databases. So you need to set up a database to talk to the WordPress install, and you do that in your hosting control panel here. So I'm going to add a new database, MySQL 5, and give it a name. Can be anything, doesn't really matter. So this is for the Vintage Love store, so I'll just call it Vintage. The username again, Vintage, and a password. And we just go to next. And fairly simple, that's it, created, we just finish it. And there you can see down the bottom, we have the new database. So I'm just going to click into that. And those are the database details there. So what we do now is we go back to our WordPress install. Now in the last video, I showed you how to set up FileZilla to your hosting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my FileZilla and go to my hosting server that I'm using. So we go into the web space folder and then into my HTTP docs. So here we can see the Vintage Love site from earlier. So we go to vintagelove.co.uk. That's the one we're going to work on now. So here we have the root folder for vintagelove.co.uk. So what I'm going to do first off is just these little 3 files that are already there. I'm just going to get rid of those. Don't need them. And what I'm going to do is open up the folder that I just downloaded with all the WordPress documents. I'm going to select them all and drop them straight into the root folder. So it's very important, don't drop the WordPress folder that you've downloaded straight into your domain root folder. You want to put the files that are in the folder into your root folder. If you drop a folder called WordPress into your domain's root folder, then the address will be vintagelove.co.uk/WordPress. And you don't want that. You want it just to be vintagelove.co.uk. So you drop all the files in the WordPress folder into your domain's root. So that's them all uploading now. So while that's happening, I'll go back into the WordPress files I just downloaded. And you want to find the file called wp-config sample. Let's open that up. Now, this is the file where we put all our database details that we've just set up. So what we need to do is we need to enter the database name here. We need to enter the database username here. We need to enter our password here. And we need to enter the local host here. And then we need to come down and put some unique phrases in here just for our cookies. I'll start with the unique phrases just while I'm down the bottom. So you can just type anything, just gobbledygook. These are just little passwords that your computer will store as cookies, just so people don't have to log in a second time. So if you ever see, sometimes you log into websites and it says, would you like this site to remember you? And you say yes, well, it stores one of these little passwords on your computer. Now, let's go back up. So we need the database name. So we'll go back into our host and control panel. Database name. Now make sure you don't get any extra characters, just the database name. Go back in and replace that with our database name. Now we need the database username. So we go up into users. Here's the database username. Go back into our file and replace the username. Now, database password. I'll just blur that out later. And we want the local host. So here's the internal host name. We copy that. And we replace that in for the local host. So that's all we need to do there. So what we do is save that. And now we rename it from WP config to WP config sample to WP config. So we just take out the hyphen sample. So now it's called WP config.php. What we do is we drop that in the root folder as well. So that's just added to the little list of things now loading up. We're nearly there. It's 25 files to go. So what I'll do is I'll go into my browser. What we want to do is go to www.vintagelove.co.uk. Now there is a long address you can type in here to get straight to the install for WordPress. But rather than do that, if you just type in wp-login.php, it actually won't log you in the first time because you don't have login details yet. What it'll do is it'll bring you straight to the install screen. So your domain with a / and wp-login.php. That is a domain you'll need to be remembering quite a bit because it's where you're going to log into the back end of your site. So you can see what we've got is an installation screen. We'll type in our site title, which is just Vintage Love. We can change that later. My username, we'll keep it admin. I'll set myself up with a password. My email. And we'll allow search engines to index the site. Yeah, that's okay. Install WordPress. Now, that's it. All installed. All we need to do is log in. So type in your username, type in your password, and hit login. There we go. That's the back end of our site setup. And if we scroll and go into visit site, we can see we've got the front end set up as well. Okay, that's that for this video. In the next video, I'll show you how to upload a theme and get it set up. Thanks for watching.